kind of driving around doing whatever they can to get away, or whether there is some kind of plan here. Again, just about 5 minutes ago, a passenger in the front seat got out, bailed from the car. We believe they were taken into custody, though we are working to confirm that. And then again, running into some traffic here at a traffic light at Temple Avenue. So now a right onto Temple from Hacienda. So that's going towards the neighborhood of Bassett, Avocado Heights. Westbound kind of travels northwest on Temple Avenue. And again, we don't know what this person is doing, where they're going, if they have a plan, or whether they're just making random turns. But everywhere they go, they are putting people at risk because of the way they are driving. Crossing over there into a turn lane. We'll see if they turn or are just going to blow this intersection. Another close call, making a left turn here onto Unruh Avenue off of Temple. So now going southbound on Unruh.
Yeah, and we're getting better information on the strategy that police are engaging in. The ground units have been told to stay far behind, likely because of the speed. So they're not pulling them off completely. The helicopter is following from the air, but ground units are still in pursuit, but from a farther distance. We do have someone on the line.
Yeah, who?
We have Bruce Thomas on the line joining us. Bruce, have you been watching, and what are your thoughts on this suspect?
Well, obviously it's a very dangerous pursuit, driving on the wrong side of the road, passing vehicles on the left, and, you know, definitely endangering everybody's safety.
Yeah, when you talk about someone going 100 miles an hour on a freeway for upwards of a half hour, 45 minutes, Bruce, can we talk about some of the complications, especially when they pull off maneuvers as quickly as they were veering in and out of lanes?
Yeah, anytime you have someone going at that excess speed over 100 miles an hour, it's basically a couple of 1,000-pound missile reaction times, not only for the suspects, but also for the other people involved. Yeah. They can't get out of the way quick enough.
Yeah, now backing up from this intersection over some of those barriers, what are they going to do? They're trapped in this little lane here with a vehicle at a stoplight.
This is La Puente now.
In La Puente, going to go through this intersection across the railroad tracks and make a right onto California, onto Valley Boulevard. So we're now going, I believe, northbound on Valley. Yeah, passing 8th Street.
And Bruce, we understand that they've tried twice to deploy spike strips. Those efforts didn't work for them. What do you think that they can still try to deploy a spike strip? What conditions are the best for that sort of maneuver?
You know, to deploy a spike strip, it does take some tactical coordination, meaning the suspect is driving around in the same area. There's some rhyme or reason to what they're doing so that the officers can then get ahead of the suspect vehicle and then deploy it. But it's a hit-and-miss tool.
Yeah, now turned onto 7th Avenue, passing Proctor Avenue.
And what do you make, Bruce, of the fact that the passenger bailed out and there were some units very nearby? Is it safe to say that they stopped to talk to that passenger? And could that be one of the reasons why the ground units were told to stay a safe distance away?
Yeah, there could be a couple reasons. That could be one. The second thing, too, is they're going to scoop up that passenger and gain information about the driver, what they're doing, who they are, so that maybe they can apprehend them later on. But the biggest thing is, you know, you have a wanted felony suspect. And so they're not going to give this pursuit up, especially if they're armed and considered dangerous, like we've been told.
Yeah, now on Don Julian Avenue in the eastern San Gabriel Valley, I believe this is still La Puente. We are pretty close to the 60 freeway going down Don Julian, which puts them into the Avocado Heights neighborhood here. It looks like this is a much more populated area. You see some of those bigger buildings, warehouses or stores. But the speeds look like they have come back down a little bit into control, although they continue to drive on the wrong side of the road. Like it looks like they're looking to do right here, coming up on this vehicle at 5th Avenue and crossing right over. But again, there's with a vehicle in front and an itchy driver, you don't know how they're going to handle the situation. You have cars coming in the other direction, whether this guy's going to drive on the wrong side of the road. It looks like they are trying to do that. You know, they're kind of peeking around this vehicle to see when they can get around them. Even, we believe, with no pursuing CHP or law enforcement officers, there they go. Wrong side of the road in a school zone, and just racking up the crimes as they go back onto the right side of the road down Don Julian Road here.
Yeah, George, did we ascertain what kind of vehicle this was?
It's a Nissan. I thought Juke at first, but I'm not sure if it is a Juke. It's a Kicks. It's a Nissan Kicks. So I don't think it's a ton of power.
It's lighter in weight than other vehicles. So if they have the opportunity and can get upon this vehicle, a pit maneuver might be a good idea.
Yeah. So passing
Yeah.
Workman Mill. Here goes a spike
Oh,
strip,
there's a spike strip right there.
and they avoided it. Other
Yeah,
side
they
of the
sure
road.
did.
Okay, so a left onto Workman Mill Road, I believe. Now going southbound on Workman Mill Road. Again, if they continue to go south, they should be able to get back on the 60 freeway, which, while not ideal in any situation like this,
Right.
keeps at least the prospect of pedestrians getting struck out of it.
And Bruce, what would you tell people who might find themselves on the road in the middle of a pursuit like this? It's hard to tell that it's even happening until you might hear the lights and sirens, or you might see, the units fly past you after another vehicle. What is your best advice for people on the road?
Well, obviously, get out of the way. Stand your ground, meaning let the problem go by you. Either
East
left
San
or
Gabriel
right, but
Valley.
don't-
These drivers
you know,
have
if you
no
see it
idea,
coming, don't
especially
try to
with
cut it off. Don't do quick lane changes.
just think that
Just-
somebody's speeding along. So it makes it very dangerous for anyone who's out on the roads on this Tuesday afternoon at 3:13.
Right. And as we continue to watch this, now we're at Workman Mill Road and Fentinoy Avenue in the East San Gabriel Valley. You can see that blue car going more than 60 miles per hour. We're not sure how many people are in the car. We do know that we did witness someone in the passenger seat do a tuck and roll out of the vehicle. So it's possible that the driver's alone, but also, of course, possible that there are more people in the back seat. And that's something that CHP always keeps in mind, that this could be a full car. They don't know at this time, or maybe they do know, but at least we don't at this time how many people are in that car. Now, as we continue to zoom out, we do not see CHP anywhere in the vicinity, so they might have moved to tracking mode. I know that we're typing to our team here to see if CHP is in tracking mode for this pursuit. We're trying to get that confirmed, but you can see that this is still, at least the driver is still continuing to go through different stop signs, go through different lights, continue this pursuit, even if it's not on the ground physically with CHP following them. So now moving down to 30 miles per hour, but at times we've seen 60 miles per hour on some of these surface streets. Here's what we know right now, in case you're just now tuning in to the Fox 11 stream here, the local stream. Okay, so we just confirmed from the assignment desk that CHP is now in tracking mode. So they're following, but they're obviously not on the ground physically following with their police cruisers at this time, CHP. And as we zoom in from Skyfox, trying to get a closer look at the suspect, it's very difficult to see to a point that Marla made earlier. We're talking about tinted windows, but it does look like the driver's side window was rolled down. Let's see, Skyfox is pushing in a little bit. It looked like the driver's side window was down, but I'm not completely sure. So we'll continue to watch this. But
We're
now,
getting back on the
freeway here.
Yeah, this is 605 northbound at Peck Road in the East San Gabriel Valley. So this changes the game. Ground units have backed off, but the airship is up above, still tracking the suspect, who is wanted for a possible felony warrant out of Mojave. It speeds now in the 70s, close to 80 miles per hour. It's the CHP Inland Division that is the lead agency on this. And they're coordinating with other jurisdictions as this happened, because it started in Mojave, and that's something to keep in mind, is units along the way are being made privy to the latest information. And now we're getting behind a big rig. That's what can happen on something like the 60 eastbound. And approaching, it's past 3:15 in the afternoon on this Tuesday. And obviously, the later it goes, the closer we get to rush hour, more cars are going to be on the freeway. Very dangerous situation. And that, to me, looks like an LA County Sheriff's Department airship, a chopper up above. So LA County Sheriff's Department, this could be a mutual aid incident, which we've seen time and time again, where that unit is now the one in charge of tracking above. and then relaying information to CHP officers in the various jurisdictions, depending on where this vehicle ends up. So 60 eastbound right now, Crossroads Parkway, East San Gabriel Valley. Speeds not too concerning now, 60 miles per hour, but at one point when we picked this up on the 10, it was going well above 100 miles per hour on the surface streets. We've seen it into the high 70s on surface streets. So very dangerous driving, crossing over double yellow lines, a lot of near misses with unsuspecting innocent drivers out there on this Tuesday afternoon. How many people are inside? We still need to find that out. We did have that one moment. If we want to pull that up, that shows as we have a tight shot and speeds in the 70s. This is that moment. Take a look. We're continuing to track the pursuit live, but that's the moment where that passenger made a tuck and roll and was able to get out. So we'll have to find out if CHP has already taken that person into custody, but we bring it back here live. This is the California 60 eastbound right there at 7th Avenue. We will work to find out if, in fact, that passenger obviously did bail from the vehicle. Were they able to escape authorities? Probably not. We're going to wait to see if we can get confirmation that that passenger is in custody, and no doubt that passenger will be questioned about, the whereabouts that they think that the driver is headed. But at this point, it doesn't seem like this person has a plan, just doing anything that they can, Coco, to stay out of police custody.
That's definitely what it appears like. Anything to stay out of police custody. Now going over 80 miles per hour on the 60 going eastbound here. So this is all happening in the East San Gabriel Valley. We're continuing to watch this pursuit. And while Marlo was speaking, we did see an airship that looked like LA County Sheriff that potentially might be, you can kind of see the shadow of it as well, but that might be a mutual aid situation with this as well. But we know that CHP Inland Division is in pursuit of this suspect at this time, not on the ground, but via airship as well, continuing to track this suspect. So for people who might just be hopping on the Fox local stream here in Los Angeles, we want to get you up to date. We know that this started in the Inland Empire. This is a possible no bail warrant. We know that in the beginning, at least 2 people were in the car, but at one point we did see, we'll show this moment right here, where a person did do a tuck and roll out of the vehicle. We don't know if that person's in custody. Police officers were still pursuing the blue vehicle, the suspect at that time, and now back here live to continue to watch this pursuit. We know that this is a felony warrant and that the suspect is possibly armed. So we are continuing to track this here on the 60 as that driver goes eastbound. And we're working to learn more information, too, about how CHP is tracking this. But again, we know that CHP Inland Division is continuing to track this suspect on the road. And when we were zoomed in, the car has tinted windows, so you're not able to determine whether or not there are more people in this car, but there, of course, could be more people in the back seat as well. And as Skyfox is zooming in, you can see that we are getting closer and closer to that rush hour traffic. But important for people to know, the reason why we bring you these pursuits live is so that you can alert people who might be in the area to be very careful as they're driving, to know that a pursuit is underway to prevent really more damage and potential injuries and harm to other drivers, because you can see that traffic's starting to pick up here on the 60 eastbound, and that driver is continuing to kind of go in and out of lanes, picking up speeds at times and going. You can see now that airship again. There was a quick view of that airship that is monitoring this blue car. It's important to note that sometimes, even if you don't see the CHP officers or whatever agency following on the ground, a lot of times they are following in the sky, as you just saw. So they are continuing to monitor this suspect. Again, we don't know how many people might be in the car, but this is still a developing situation and an important one to monitor and keep track of, especially if this is your route, or if you know anyone who takes this route. He's passing by several big trucks as well, which could potentially be dangerous, not only for that truck driver, but for the other vehicles that are on the 60 going eastbound right now.
Yeah, so we're at the 60 at Azusa Avenue in the East San Gabriel Valley. And the question becomes, will CHP go back into pursuit mode? Right now, they are in tracking mode. One passenger has bailed from the vehicle that happened on a surface street. We've been on the 60 for a few minutes now. Speeds haven't been terrible, not too dangerous, thank goodness. But the driving behavior has been dangerous, of just weaving in and out of traffic, crossing over those double yellow lines without a care in the world. Meanwhile, all these other drivers don't know what's coming up behind them. Again, if you find yourself in one of these situations, if you have time and you see a pursuit vehicle coming up behind you, you are, according to authorities, the best move you can do is to pull over to the shoulder if you can, or just make your way to your lanes to your right. That's the best thing that you can do. You do not want to get mixed up with one of these because it could turn out deadly, in fact. And we've seen that happen where innocent drivers get caught up in these pursuits. Some who have tried to help authorities, others who just are unsuspecting. So we hope that that is not the case now, but nonetheless, crossing over those double yellow lines. If CHP goes back into pursuit mode, how would they bring this to an end? Spike strips are an option if traffic isn't too heavy. We've seen spike strips. They plan ahead. They get to the exits ahead and they will throw out spike strips. But it looks to me now we're speeds above 90 miles per hour. This is just way too fast for spike strips. Pit maneuver, absolutely out of the question. Speeds are just way too high. So we'll see if this ends up being one of those situations where you never know. They just get off the freeway and they pull over and they give up. We've seen that happen no matter how long that we've covered these pursuits. That can happen. We've seen pursuit drivers run out of gas. How much gas did they have when this all started in Mojave? The lead agency is the Inland Division of CHP. This started some time ago. We've been on it for the last about 30 minutes so far. Tight shot there. Those blacked out windows, tinted windows, makes it very difficult to be able to tell. Okay, I'm just getting some direction from our executive producer. We're jumping on. We're on the Fox Local Los Angeles stream, but we are going to be going to linear television, to television on Fox 11 as well, because this is such an incredible pursuit to be able to cover and bring to you. Welcome everyone to we're not just quite there yet. We're not there yet. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. So. Okay, so we're on the 60 in the East San Gabriel Valley. We continued on Nogales Street, speeds in the 80s. So I was saying that the speeds weren't too bad, and they certainly are now in that more dangerous zone with speeds in the 80s, in the 90s. All of these drivers having no clue, and it doesn't help that there are no black and whites behind this pursuit driver, because it doesn't give these drivers any chance to know. All that they can see if they look in the rearview mirror is that there is a dangerous driver coming up behind them, and that airship making its way in our live picture from Skyfox. This is the 60 eastbound right there in the East San Gabriel Valley. It looks like coming up on some pockets of slowing here, so it's going to be interesting to see as the driver chooses to be in the carpool lane how they will get through this pocket of slowdown, because at some point it's all going to back up and there will be nowhere to go. So it wouldn't surprise me if they try to make their way over and off onto surface streets. CHP Inland Division is handling this case. We bring you these pursuits because it is for public safety reasons. This is such a public safety issue right now on this Tuesday afternoon, 3:25, with so many drivers on the 60 freeway. This vehicle sticking with the carpool lane. If you're just jumping on the Fox Local Los Angeles stream, this is Marla Tejas. I have Coco McAvoy here along with me. We're covering this pursuit, and now we do have that black and white trailing behind. So it looks like they are back in pursuit mode. As that carpool lane is the chosen lane for this driver, because there aren't a lot of vehicles in that carpool lane compared to the slowdown that the other drivers are having to deal with on the 60 freeway. So we're veering off. Again, wouldn't surprise me if they choose to get off, because traffic is going to become an issue. Surface streets could be easier for this suspect to navigate. The want on this one is a possible felony warrant. Again, this started in Mojave, and the CHP Inland Division is the lead agency on this one. Coco.
Yeah, and we're continuing to watch this on the 60 going eastbound. And as Marla mentioned, you could see that there is a CHP officer following behind this blue vehicle at this time. So maybe for the past, I would say 20, 25 minutes or so, we didn't see any CHP cruisers on the ground, but now we do see that a CHP officer, at least one cruiser, is following behind this suspect at this time. So if you're just now hopping on the Fox local stream here in Los Angeles, here's what we know right now. We know that this started maybe about an hour or so ago that we've been taking this, maybe 45 minutes. Don't quote me on the exact time. You can see that officer CHP following behind now. But what we know is that this started off as at least 2 people inside of the vehicle in the Inland Empire. This is a possible no bail warrant, wanted for a felony warrant. And we know that officers believe that the person is possibly armed as well. So we know that CHP Inland Division is really taking the lead on this, but we did appear to see possible airships from other divisions, so not able to confirm at this time whether multiple agencies are working on this, but we'll work to confirm that information with you. Just important to note that now it appears that this driver is going over 50 miles per hour, and now we see at least 2 CHP officers following behind this suspect as the suspect gets back on the freeway here, the 60 going eastbound. And as this continues to go, we are getting closer and closer to that rush hour traffic. So obviously, whenever there's a pursuit, there is a threat of danger, especially for the innocent drivers who are on the freeway here and have no idea what's going on. The good news now is that we do see those CHP officers following behind the blue car. That can kind of give people a little bit of a hint that something at least is happening here, and that can be helpful. So as we're continuing to watch this here live, we do want to show you this moment, why we know that there were at least 2 people inside of the car at that time. So you can see that that person got out of the passenger side door, did about a tuck and roll there. So we're going to show that to you just one more time in case you missed it. You can see that there. Let's go back live, though, as you can see that there are some close calls with this suspect here. We don't know if he's driving alone at the time. I just showed you that moment, of course, where a person got out of the passenger side door. So potentially the suspect could be alone. Potentially people could be in the back seat as well. We are on the 60 eastbound here in the East San Gabriel Valley. Now the suspect appears to be going just a little bit slower. He's in that carpool lane trying to get around that vehicle there, which is obviously what makes this potentially dangerous, as a lot of times we see that these drivers do desperate moves, anything to really avoid an arrest. So that's what we're continuing to watch here, now picking up speed just a little bit. But again, the information we know is CHP Inland Division is tracking them.
Yeah, we're approaching 3:30, the bottom of the hour. CHP first getting the call at 2:55, so just been underway for about 35 minutes. It may have started on the 15 at Mojave. This is per scanner information, which means it's not confirmed, but it's what we have to go on right now. The felony warrant, possibly armed. Again, working to get all of this confirmed, but that is what we have right now. And it looks like, no surprise, at 3:30 in the afternoon, traffic is backing up. So bottleneck here on now the 57 north. So we made the transition from the 60 to the 57 north. We do have that CHP cruiser now in pursuit. You see it there. It's coming into frame. And this dangerous act of weaving in and out of traffic, just trying to get by as the bottleneck seems to be getting worse right here. This is just passing Riverside exit on the 57 northbound. They were in the following mode, but now they're in the, or rather in the tracking mode. Now they are in the pursuit mode. And the fact that there's traffic right now changes everything, in that this can give authorities a little bit more calm time to figure out the best strategy. Here's another unit. There are units that are piling up along 57, no doubt. And this is what they do. They coordinate with exits ahead to try to get ahead of the suspect, to try to figure out, do the traffic conditions allow us to do a spike strip? Is that an option? They have to consider how heavy traffic is, traffic volume. They have to consider speeds. A pit maneuver is not something we tend to see on freeways. That is something that is done more often on surface streets. So typically it's a spike strip that we've seen on freeways like the California 57 northbound. Traffic now sort of opening up, and we're seeing those speeds reflect that, with speeds now quickly headed toward 70 miles per hour. No doubt it's going to go faster. If this driver can go faster, they will go faster. They've already proven that. They've proven that they'll go over double yellow lines. They'll cross into oncoming traffic. They'll do whatever it takes to stay out of those handcuffs. This is now in the 60s, speeds in the 60s. And now we want to officially welcome you to our coverage on Fox 11. Not just quite yet. We're still with you just on the Fox Local stream. Not just, but hopefully you are joining us on the Fox Local Los Angeles app. And we want to have the latest information with Coco right now.
So
It is 3:31. We are breaking into programming to bring you this latest pursuit that's underway in the East San Gabriel Valley. This is Marla Tejas alongside Coco McAvoy. This is a pursuit that is underway on the 60 eastbound right now. Again, in the East San Gabriel Valley, we've been on it for about 35, 40 minutes so far. High-speed pursuit that's made its way on and off the freeway onto surface streets. A whole lot of near-miss moments. The want on this one is a possible felony warrant. Started out of Mojave. We've seen one passenger inside tuck and roll, literally jump out of a moving vehicle. We can pull that up, in fact, and show you. Here's that moment. Look closely. I wish we could highlight it for you, but boom, we zoom in and you see on the upper portion of your screen that passenger did get out. Unclear if that passenger is now in custody as we bring you back live to this pursuit underway on the 60 at Phillips Ranch Road in the East San Gabriel Valley. Does that mean that this driver is now alone? We don't know that. CHP is the lead agency, the Inland Division. They always assume that there is more than one person. They always assume that the suspect is armed or the people inside are armed. They always assume the absolute worst in these cases. We've seen the bottleneck happen on the 60 freeway. Given the time of day, it's not surprising, but really any time of day in Los Angeles, we always tend to see traffic one way or the other. So 333 and speeds, Coco, are approaching 80 miles per hour.
yes, 77, 78 right there, approaching 80 miles per hour, as you mentioned. And when we had that zoomed out view from Skyfox, it appeared that there were not any CHP cruisers on the ground continuing to pursue this suspect. But we'll continue to watch this and see if that's the case. But we've seen that throughout this pursuit now that we've been on for maybe about an hour, maybe over an hour now. We've seen at times that CHP stopped pursuing on the ground, but they were obviously still pursuing from airships, still continuing to track this suspect. So if you're just now watching our broadcast here, we want to get you up to speed. This started in the Inland Empire as a possible no bail warrant. So we know CHP officers are following a potential felony suspect. We know that it started at least as two people in the car. Now we don't know if the driver is alone and by themselves, but they're on the 60 freeway going eastbound. And I know Executive Producer Joya, is there something you wanted to mention?
Yeah.
Felony warrant for a narcotics violation. So that just came from our streaming executive producer, Joya. Streaming. Okay, so we know that this is a felony warrant for a narcotics violation. So that's new information that we just got now out of this pursuit that we've been continuing to track on the 60 eastbound, the East San Gabriel Valley. So now we're close to about 3:35 here on your Tuesday afternoon, getting closer and closer to that rush hour traffic. And if you've been watching this pursuit, then you saw at times that the driver did encounter some of that traffic that was starting to form. So as he or she, I should say, continues to drive, they could continue to encounter more and more traffic the later that we get. Right now, pretty open freeway, approaching 80 miles per hour here. And we do know that CHP Inland Division was the lead on this as well. So we're continuing to track this here, but you can see now going more than 80 miles per hour, approaching 90 miles an hour here on the 60 eastbound. So that's important to note. If you know anybody on this freeway right now, if this is your route to go home or to go wherever you're trying to go, make sure that you're aware that there is a pursuit going on, because without those CHP cruisers on the ground, sometimes people don't know if this is a pursuit. They might just be thinking that this person is driving fast or driving erratically, but it's important for them to know that there is a pursuit that is underway. the suspect wanted for a narcotics violation, Marla.
It is the 650 eastbound at Reservoir Street and now in Ontario officially. So now we're moved over to the right-hand shoulder. Will this person get off the freeway to bypass the bottleneck that apparently it is approaching? We will have to wait and see, but now we're just on the shoulder altogether. All together now on the shoulder and now back in that far right lane. If there's an exit, it wouldn't surprise me if they get off just because it's getting a little too crowded there. On the 60 eastbound at Reservoir Street in Ontario. Speeds just in the 50s, hovering even now into the 30s. So it's certainly a slowdown now. Felony suspect wanted for a narcotics violation. The CHP Inland Division is the lead agency. We've seen them go from pursuit to tracking mode because of just the danger that this pursuit is posing to the public. Right now, it's hard to drive fast just because of that. Traffic is backing up, so now we're just coming to a stop. It's interesting to see, and it's, of course, it's the blue vehicle that that suspect is in right now, weaving in and out of traffic, again, doing anything that they can to stay out of that stopped traffic. If they see an opening, they're going to take it. This is the 60 eastbound at Ramona Avenue in Ontario. CHP following this felony suspect picked up at 2:55. So we've been on the air less than an hour with it. Our coverage is nearing an hour, and it's going to be interesting to see CHP's typically aggressive when it comes to this. If it's a felony suspect, they're not going to let this person go just because they're not tracking or following on the ground with ground units. They have an airship up above. We've also seen signs of the LA County Sheriff's Department helicopter up above that could also be taking part in helping support CHP. CHP definitely coordinating with various jurisdictions as the driver continues eastbound on the 60 in Ontario. Traffic piling up on this Tuesday afternoon. Speeds just about in the low 30s right now, Coco.
Yes, so we're continuing to watch here on the 60 freeway going eastbound. This is in Ontario, and it was in the East San Gabriel Valley before that. So right now we are in Ontario here. You can see that speeds are approaching 50 miles per hour, but he's going slow at times too, because we're talking about traffic that's starting to form as we approach rush hour, of course. So he's kind of getting pretty close to this vehicle behind him, trying to probably figure out a way to get around. Although CHP is not on the ground, at least that doesn't appear to be. They don't appear to be tracking him from the ground, but tracking him from the air indeed. So if you're just now hopping on to our live broadcast, we want to get you up to date, caught up on the information for this pursuit happening in Ontario. So this started in the Inland Empire. We thought this was a possible no bail warrant, but now we do know, we have learned more information, and we know that this is now the felony warrant for a narcotics violation. So we know that it was potentially only two people in the car. Let's show you that moment that happened maybe about 30 or so minutes ago. You can see that someone was definitely in the passenger side door, because you can see that person do a tuck and roll, get out of the vehicle. Look closely if you missed it that first time. You can see the person jumps out. We don't know if that person has been arrested by CHP as we go back here live and continue to watch here on the 60 going eastbound. This is in Ontario. So we bring you these pursuits live because we want people to be aware that there is a pursuit underway, especially as we start to approach rush hour traffic. We want people to know that this is happening, especially because they're not going to have that hint of the CHP officers right behind him. So you can see this suspect, this driver in the carpool lane. That's because typically that's seeing less traffic, but right now that driver is behind that red vehicle, kind of hugging the line, maybe determining whether or not he's trying to get around. And that's why it's important to really be mindful of these potential pursuits, because a lot of times the drivers are desperate and they'll do anything to avoid an arrest. But this has been going for a while now. Yes, Producer Daryl. Yep. So started in the Inland Empire, as producer Daryl was just pointing out, and obviously we're back in the Inland Empire as well. We're here on the 60 eastbound, and traffic is starting to pick up, so going a little bit slower at times, down to 15 miles an hour, but we've seen it, so we know that this driver will get up in speed as soon as this driver likely finds an opening to do so.
CHP, just because we don't see those units on the ground right now doesn't mean that they're not tracking it from the air, nor does it mean that they aren't planning ahead, getting ahead of this suspect at various exits, upcoming exits, and determining on if they can in fact do a spike strip. That would be one of the ways that they bring this to an end, or they just let this play out and until the driver thinks he or she is in the clear, gets off and makes a run for it. That's when those vehicles, those black and whites, can come out of really nowhere, just when you think that they're not there, and they are there, and certainly they are tracking from above. So we've hit this traffic, the bottleneck here on the 60 freeway in Ontario. Nowhere to go, boxed in by traffic. We haven't seen this often because traffic has been pretty open at this point, but as we get closer to the 4 o'clock hour, it's certainly going to pick up as people are making their way home. Now we're seeing the live pictures that include CHP officers. So those ground units, they're there. They're absolutely there, and they are coordinating with other agencies in the area to try and get the suspect to come to a stop. How that happens, we're just going to wait and see along with you. But again, this is crossing over the yellow line with speeds now nearing 70 miles per hour. Very dangerous, especially given the time of day that there are so many people out on the road. These people, these innocent drivers out there, do not want to get into it with this pursuit suspect who will do anything to stay out of those handcuffs. The want is narcotics violation, a felony. Started in the Inland Empire, and we're back in the Inland Empire. We've been tracking this for almost an hour now, picked up by CHP at 2:55 this afternoon. A whole lot of near misses. One person has bailed, so it could just be that driver who is left there in the vehicle. CHP always, law enforcement always assumes the worst, that they are armed, that they are dangerous, but it is a felony suspect behind the wheel of this blue vehicle. Now on the right-hand lane here, the shoulder. Will they exit the 60 after some time? We've seen that. We've been on and off surface streets, back on the freeway. Given the traffic conditions, I've been saying it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they get onto surface streets. Do they know the area as they get back into the Inland Empire? I would assume yes, this is where it started, but that's just an assumption. So we'll have to see if they drive more confidently. When we were in the East San Gabriel Valley on those surface streets, they were making random left turns, right turns, ended up on a dead-end street. CHP still not able to bring the pursuit to an end. They did not seem to know the neighborhood, and now we're back on the 60 eastbound, where we have been for some time, in the Inland Empire, where this pursuit originated from. So it wouldn't surprise me if the suspect does know the roadways here, knows the exits, know what the surface streets looks like, and they're just trying to stay out of authorities' grip with that CHP officer tracking behind. And there you go, Coco. You saw that. Looks to be that LA County Sheriff's Department chopper that just flew into our shot.
And it looks like that CHP officer might be closing it, especially as traffic starts to really come to a close here on the 60 freeway, because you can see that traffic is picking up. And it's important to note, too, in these situations, a lot of times you see people that are trying to help. Maybe they think that they should try to stop the suspect. It is advised not to do that. You can see a hand out the window now, out the driver's side window. So not sure exactly what that's indicating. Looks like that driver is slowing down. Of course, now flashing lights from the CHP officers. So maybe potentially that driver has decided enough, but looks like so far this driver is continuing to drive here on the 60 eastbound in Ontario. But his hand is, both hands are out of the window now. So that would imply to me that he's trying to indicate, look, I'm done with this. I know we've been going for nearly an hour now, and it's time to end, but we're going to continue to watch this. But you could see those hands out of the window, slowing down as well, now going close to 10 miles an hour as we're on the 60 eastbound here in Ontario. So we're continuing to watch this. When we were seeing, and he's still putting those hands out of the window. In case you're just now hopping on our live broadcast, we want to get you up to speed. We know that this started in the Inland Empire. We're back in the Inland Empire. He's pulling over now. This suspect is wanted for a narcotics violation. Now has pulled over here, so we'll watch to see what happens. Both hands are out of the window,
Yep.
suggesting to officers, okay, I'm surrendering. We saw that car door open now from CHP Highway Patrol. We'll see how they approach this. Typically, there are different approaches depending on what they think might be in the vehicle, because they don't know right now how many people might be in the car. Though we saw that one person bail, there could be more people. So 3 police cruisers, CHP cruisers right now, all parked. Looks like they're going to approach the suspect on that driver's side soon.
There is a very particular protocol that law enforcement follows at this point. So if you are the suspect, and it looks like now that we have a clearer shot of the suspect with both arms out, vehicle pulled over, this is the 60 eastbound at Vineyard Avenue, where this pursuit seems to have come to an end. The suspect is now being directed to get out of the vehicle. They will ask this suspect to walk backward with his hands up, and it does look to be a male suspect. It looks like he may be having a difficult time opening the door. Let's just see what that is about as we watch this. They will ask him. Now he's able to open the door from outside. There, we're getting a clearer shot. The suspect will be asked to walk backward toward him, get on the ground in spread eagle, so hands up, turn around, walk backward, get on the ground, and at which point officers will approach and put this person into suspect.
Yes, appears to be a woman. Yeah,
Oh,
it definitely appears to be a woman with
my
braids,
mistake.
red
Yes.
braids. Mhm.
Okay, so it is a female driver, and again, being asked to walk backward as indicated, and it looks like that this suspect is heeding the call. Now will be asked to get on the ground, and then will be put into handcuffs. They will then search the vehicle itself, and this is not what they want to see. You do not want to face, you want to turn your back and you want to get on the ground. That's exactly what they are indicating. Now that as handcuffs go on, they will now search the vehicle itself to find out if there's anyone else in the vehicle. They'll, of course, search the trunk too. Once that vehicle search is done, they will call a code 4, which means this pursuit is officially over. And of course, guns drawn as they approach this vehicle. This is pulled over on the 60 eastbound at Vineyard Avenue in Ontario. CHP officer looks to be clearing the vehicle. They will pop that trunk to make sure that there is no one else in the vehicle. And it looks like, and they'll give a code 4. So that they put up the 4 fingers. That means all clear, and that suspect is in custody after leading officers on an almost hour-long pursuit. Started in the Inland Empire and ending in the Inland Empire. Coco?
Yeah. And as we continue to watch now, that pursuit is over here in Ontario. So now we're going to bring
But the backup
Marla and I
is just
here.
beginning. The
Yeah.
backup on the 60 is just beginning right now.
Yeah, because now we're approaching that rush hour traffic. So if we want to go back live, if you want to see, well, it looks like now they're continuing to show the shot after that suspect has been arrested. All we know right now is we saw that it was a woman who is in custody now following this. We know that she was wanted for a narcotics incident. I'm not saying that right. It's a narcotics violation. That's the word. A narcotics violation of some sort. So we'll work to learn more information about exactly what they were following her for. But this was almost an hour for this pursuit. And now you can see that officers are continuing to search the vehicle. They're just making sure, although they did give that all clear, they're still walking around that vehicle. I do want to show you a moment that you might have missed earlier in our coverage. This was the moment when a person jumped out from the passenger side door. Now, we don't have any information on that person. We don't know if that person also was arrested and is now in custody, but you can see that that person did get out of the vehicle and officers did give the all clear. So it appears that there is nobody else in the vehicle. That woman has been taken into custody for a felony narcotics violation. Officers still over here in Ontario where this ended. It started in the Inland Empire, and now it's here ending in the Inland Empire as well.
And the backup on the 60 is building as authorities continue to deal with this. So if you have somebody who's headed home, probably going to be a little bit delayed, but it looks like they are trying to get CHP units off to the side and open up those lanes so that traffic can get by. Again, this is in Ontario on the 60 eastbound at Vineyard Avenue. So it probably won't be too much longer until this is all clear and traffic will be moving along without this incident to bog it down on this Tuesday afternoon.
But the good news is it appears that no one was injured. That's important to note with this pursuit. After about an hour or so, we saw live here on our broadcast that that suspect got out of her vehicle. Before she even got out, she put her hands outside of the window, indicating to police that she is surrendering. And then there appeared to be no incident of any kind as she was taken into custody following this pursuit. And of course, that's the ending that you always want. You don't want anyone to be injured, especially not those innocent drivers. Now you can see, as we zoom out here on Skyfox, you can see that traffic starting to build because, of course, the CHP officers are pulled over on the freeway here on the 60 freeway in Ontario. So you can see now that long line of traffic that is building, especially as we approach rush hour. We're getting close to 4 o'clock p.m. So more of this traffic is going to continue to build. But you can see now that the CHP officers are lined up on the shoulder of the freeway here so that people can try to get by. But of course, you're going to see some people who are going to look, and try to figure out what exactly is going on, especially if they aren't sure that there was a pursuit that just ended here. But again, the big headline that's so important to make sure is that no one was injured.
All right, and that's going to do it for our Skyfox is breaking away from the scene. That's going to do it for our coverage of this latest pursuit ending in the city of Ontario. We're going to send you off to programming already in progress here on Fox 11, but we'll have the very latest on this coming up at 5 o'clock on the Fox 11 News beginning at 5 o'clock. In the meantime, I'll see you back on the Fox